What's up, everybody? It's your boy, World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about AEW Dynamite, November 2024 review. Um, my thoughts on this show was all right. Nothing spectacular happened. We'd had Will Hobbs return to AEW. I was wondering when the hell he was going to show up. So he actually teamed with Ricochet tonight in the main event against the Don Callis family with Kyle Fletcher and Takeshka, and that was our main event. We got Will Ospreay returning after that match was over. We also had some good wrestling overall. There was a tag team match that opened the show. Well, not really. It was the very first match of the night, and that was the Orange Cassidy Darby Allin match against Claudio Castagnoli and Pac. That match went to be a no contest, actually. I thought they would call that a disqualification against the BCC and give that to Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Matt 87 Eagle says you're probably the only guy covering Dynamite since all the big streamers are reviewing NXT. Okay. I don't give two flying shits about NXT. Will I go and watch this NXT episode since it is taking place in the ECW arena at the 2300 in Philadelphia? Absolutely. It seemed interesting, but I'm not watching it over my normal everyday week of coverage here on this channel. Granted, the viewership on this channel has really dropped since I started going live, and I think I'm going to start covering these episodes on video. I'm not getting a whole lot of commentary in the chat except through Matt 87 Eagle. A lot of my current supporters, I guess, aren't here at the present time when I do these reviews, so probably just going ahead and living their own life, which is totally cool. And since there's not a whole lot of interaction, I think I'm going to start covering these episodes through through video, and that way my viewership could go up, because I've noticed my viewership on video than on live is a lot better than going live. So I'm going to go back to doing that until I get a better computer and so forth and rebuild the live viewership up. But to be quite frank with you guys, I'm not really keen on wrestling right now. Wrestling right now for me has not been my top priority. As I mentioned, I've been making money off of betting. I'm about ready to break even this month. And actually make some profit. So there's a couple of bets that went awry during the weekend. So I'm kind of just playing catch up for right now until I get steadily back up to where I was last month. But yeah, I'm not too keen on pro wrestling right now. Personally, I've been doing False Count Anywhere, been doing terrible with that. I don't know why I'm doing so bad with the picks on the questions that I'm asked, but last month I was on point, I was hitting it, and then all of a sudden I just crash and burn. Crown Jewel, I hardly got any of the picks correct. I think the only picks I got right was Bloodline and LA Knight retaining the US championship. Other than that, the rest of the show I was fucking all wrong on, which is very weird for me. I usually get them right. It's very rare I get like 60 to 75% of them wrong. So I don't know, man. Pretty fucking awkward if you ask me, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think tonight's show is okay. It was fairly decent. But yeah, I was not impressed with everything that occurred. Some of these matches I didn't quite understand why they turned out the way they did. So let's go over the entire episode. We went into the Hurt Syndicate, formerly known as the Hurt Business. We had Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, and MVP doing a promo here. MVP doing all the talking, of course, and pretty much explaining what they are here to do. They are here to elevate the talent, but if they refuse to take their services, they are going to beat the holy hell out of them and make them an enemy. They showed footage of what happened last week of Swerve Strickland, and that this is what happens when you turn down the Hurt Syndicate. If we look at you as a prospect and someone that we want to recruit and you refuse to do so, we are going to kick your ass. And that's basically how the story is going to go. Why are they doing it like this? I don't know, outside of being just fucking dicks and control freaks. But yeah, so pretty much Swerve Strickland comes out. He went ahead and he said he looked very angry, very frustrated. I think it was a little over the top for my liking, I guess. But he wanted Bobby Lashley at Full Gear. MVP made the answered the challenge and said we accept, and that was it. It was that easy. So Full Gear, we got Swerve Strickland, Bobby Lashley, 1-on-1. I'm going to take Bobby Lashley to win this match. I don't think you bring in Bobby Lashley to have his very first debut match against Swerve Strickland to lose. Will I bet on something like this? Probably not. I don't think that's a very smart move to bet on this kind of match, because Swerve Strickland really could use a win too. He's been taking some L's. They're really building this card up rather quickly, and every match has some sort of purpose. It has some stories built. Not great stories, not compelling stories, but stories nonetheless that have a reason to be on the card, which is a lot to say compared to what the what AEW has done in the past with these pay-per-views. I mean, they don't really build story with these matches. Going into pay-per-views all that much with any kind of story. They just book them and say, there you go, watch and enjoy type of shit. Matt87 Eagle says renaming the BCC to the Death Riders is probably the right move. I mean, Regal left AEW a while ago and Bryan is pretty much retired. Probably that would be the best course of action, and naming them. They could also call them the Reapers, possibly. Who knows? Love Girl says it looks like Aleister Black might be going to WWE because his contract is up at the end of this year and beginning of next year. So I see him showing up at the Royal Rumble with Buddy Murphy. You might be right about that. I don't know about Buddy Murphy. I don't know when his contract's up, but if it is the same time as Malachi Black, yeah, I could probably see that, depending on how long the grace period is. Because if there's a non-compete clause to that for a 3-month period, he's not going to be able to show up at the Royal Rumble. He'll probably show up the night after WrestleMania. That'll probably be the best time to say Malachi Black can come to WWE and appear on WWE television. I can imagine him going to WWE, and I think Triple H will give him some spot on their show where he has some purpose and meaning, because on AEW he has none. The only time he has actually had any importance has been in NXT Black and Gold, It's very unfortunate he was misused on WWE by Vince McMahon. Had Vince McMahon used him properly, I don't believe we would have ever seen Malachi Black leave WWE and go to AEW at any point in time. A lot of the talent that AEW has gotten is on account of frustrating creative booking decisions by Vince McMahon and the WWE as a whole. Now that Vince McMahon's out of the creative picture and completely out of the company as well, there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of these former WWE stars to go back to where they came from and revamp their career back in WWE to actually have a legitimate opportunity to make their career worth something. From what I've heard, there is belief that they might get rid of the brand split when they move over to the Netflix. I think that is the right move, personally. I think that Netflix and USA Network deserve to have the rights to have these talents on both shows so that both stations, both users of these brands have the opportunity to showcase these talent on there so that they can actually watch them on both programs. Because leaving people with only the option to watch one set of wrestlers on Netflix and the other set of wrestlers on on the USA Network kind of sucks, especially if people don't have subscriptions to Netflix. So Netflix, in a way, is actually being very considerate to USA Network by encouraging the idea of no brand split anymore, which is unlike what Fox was trying to do. Fox wanted all the great names on their fucking SmackDown roster so that they have all the great names on their network. And I think that Netflix wanting the complete opposite, and they want to share the love with USA, I think will go a long way with the USA Network. But then you could also look at it as other reasons as like, well, I would like to have Cody Rhodes and I'd like to have this and I'd like to have that. And I'd like to have a revolving door of all the talent that you have on your roster so that they can be showcased on Netflix. And that could be the possible reasoning behind why that rumor is being spread or why it's being mentioned. Um, Love Girl says, guess what? It looks like NXT might be AEW because they were having NXT ECW Arena 2300 with Bubba Ray, Dudley, and others, and the audience was really loud at this show. Well, I'm going to go back and watch it. I'm not going to review it, but I am going to watch it. I had some interest in it and seeing how the show went. Despite the fact NXT is not exactly the most exciting show to watch. So I'm interested in seeing how they did in a ECW arena situation. It does intrigue me, but to watch it on a week to week basis, I'm sorry, Love Girl, but I know you're a WWE mark and you enjoy their content, which I totally agree with you now creatively. But NXT does not do it for me, unfortunately. It used to, and I used to cover it on a week to week basis. At all the wrestling shows that would be on, I would cover only NXT on a week to week basis and then cover the WWE pay per views. So I was a huge fan of NXT at one point in time. You can ask Matt 87 Eagle, he definitely confirmed that. But yeah, moving on. So we can move through all this. Love Girl says it was an excellent show because there were a lot of, guest stars and a lot of only really good wrestling. Even Rob Van Dam even was on the show, but I do agree with you. The what? You didn't finish. Bubba Ray Dudley can't wrestle anymore. I actually saw what you guys meant. He was slow and breathing hard. I had to see proof. Yeah, he can't wrestle anymore. Okay. Well, I think Bubba Ray Dudley is past his prime. I mean, the guy doesn't need to wrestle anymore. He's doing this for fucking money, personally. But yeah, we had a no contest with the tag team match to open the show for the first match. So yeah, nothing too exciting there. We had the conglomeration go one-on-one, or a six-man tag, excuse me. Um, in a six-man tag match against it had Ishii, O'Reilly, and Mark Briscoe going up against the Learning Tree of what's the fucking name? Hold on. See, it's Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keith. The Learning Tree end up losing this tag team match. I really find that to be absolutely fucking stupid. Why the hell would you have Chris Jericho win the Ring of Honor World title and then ultimately have a rematch with the conglomeration with the Learning Tree and have the Learning Tree lose? What the fuck does that do? You have your Ring of Honor World Champion lose? The fuck is this? I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. On Falls Count Anywhere, it's a pick'em site. They asked the question who would win that match. I picked the fucking Learning Tree. I don't understand the logic here. You just had Chris Jericho win the Ring of Honor World title in a ladder match against Mark Briscoe, and then you're gonna have Mark Briscoe pick up a W? Why didn't Mark Briscoe just retain the fucking championship in the first place then? That to me is absolutely mind-numbing. You're gonna have Jericho win, then he's gonna lose. What the fuck? It's 50-50 booking here. What's next? We're gonna have Chris Jericho have a rematch with Mark Briscoe, and Mark Briscoe is gonna lose? Like, what the fuck? Come on, man. Seriously. This is Vincent McMahon booking mentality, man. This is absolutely retarded. Matt 87 Eagle says Black and Gold was the best wrestling weekly show, even at 1 hour. Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I think that hey, the NXT Black and Gold deserved 2 hours, but to be on a weekly television show on a network, no. I was 100% against that. I think they should have remained on the network, WWE network, and was moved to 2 hours. They deserved it. They had great content. And even though the WWE moved them to an actual network television station, they were still technically making good programming for those 2 hours, but they were too damn focused on what AEW was doing on their show. I really was dumbfounded by it. I was even covering it between AEW and NXT. And I'll be straight up honest with you. I thought it was absolute asinine and trash. 100%. And I think that's what killed Triple H's NXT version, was worrying so much about AEW's television, which now they don't fucking give two flying shits about. They shouldn't, because they're fucking outdoing AEW in every aspect. I mean, NXT is even competing with them, and I'm not even a fan of NXT anymore. So I don't know. Matt 87 Eagle also states 50-50 booking at its worst. Yes, sir. That fucking six-man tag team match blew my mind. How that guy, Mark Briscoe, ends up getting a W here. Made no fucking sense. But they get the win. The pair of Briscoe and Ishii celebrate as commentary makes note of Ishii pinning the Ring of Honor World Champion. So there you go. It wasn't Mark Briscoe, but his team won. And Ishii wins the match. So what are we going to get? Ishii challenging fucking Chris Jericho? Oh my God. Why, the forbidden door is always open, apparently. I don't know. But now we got the forbidden door in Ring of Honor. I'm dumbfounded, really. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this, but it is pretty fucking pathetic. So we cut backstage where John Moxley runs down Cassie saying Yuta doesn't owe him anything. He calls Yuta a soldier before running down Darby, and the group make their exit. I'm liking this John Moxley character, but like, can we get to I don't know, maybe I'm being impatient here, but can we get to the fucking point of where we're going with this? Like, is he trying to rebuild AEW, break it down and rebuild it back up again? Is that what he's trying to do here? I mean, he's trying to bring out the best in Orange Cassidy, but he's no longer caring about that. He cares about just beating the shit out of him, retaining his belt, which, guys, I don't know about you, but it's kind of weird. He's a world champion. We don't see him carrying around the title. Makes me feel like he shouldn't have been made champion. It is very awkward. I hope we see him with the championship on his shoulder when he comes out to defend it at Full Gear, at least. If we see that, I mean, okay, fine. That's great and all. But yeah, I mean, we need a little bit of seeing the AEW world title because right now the fucking belt is non existent. I don't even understand what we're doing here. Like, the world title doesn't seem to have any kind of importance. This is just based around a storyline, and the world title is kept hostage by John Moxley that's hidden away somewhere where we can never see the belt. I mean, some people might be saying I'm being a little ridiculous here, worrying about not seeing a world title on John Moxley's shoulder or something, but it is kind of awkward to me anyway. Let's see here. Adam Cole, Malachi Black. This was a good match. This was a very good match, but the ending was a little awkward for me. I don't know why Malachi Black just sat there, crossed his legs, and said, "Go ahead and do it." He went like this and was basically asking him to finish him. I mean, I find that to be fucking whacked like crazy. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Very odd to me, anyway. But yeah, Malachi Black ends up losing the match to Adam Cole. Good matchup overall, though. Kyle O'Reilly watches on from trainer's room being checked on as Adam celebrates in the ring. Malachi slowly rises back to his feet. Eventually shows a sign of respect by giving him a hug. Fuck the handshake. And honestly, these guys are best friends in the back. I'm pretty certain. Cole turns his attention to MJF, promising to get his remaining win before addressing what happens should Roderick Strong get all 3 wins as well. Cole says he talked to Tony Khan, who said that if both men get the wins they need to face MJF at Full Gear, it will be a triple threat match. I honestly think that is kind of weird. Well, what's Roderick Strong have to do with MJF? What did MJF do to Roderick Strong, honestly? To be quite frank, what did MJF ever do to Adam Cole? This is the weird thing about this story. These two guys are acting as if they're the victims, and yet they're not the ones that were attacked by MJF. MJF was attacked by them. This is all ass backwards. Am I looking forward to a match between MJF and Adam Cole? Yeah. I don't think we're going to get a triple threat match. I honestly don't see it. I think Roderick Strong's going to take an L somewhere before he gets to his 3rd win. So, I don't know why in the hell MJF would even take on the responsibility or giving these guys an opportunity to have all the members or Roderick Strong getting a shot by winning 3 matches in a row like Adam Cole to get a match with him. Quite frankly, it doesn't make any sense to me, but hey, who's counting? We saw MJF, though, getting on the phone, getting ready to call someone. I think that had something to do with Don Callis. Don Callis had a phone call during a interview that he was having. And yeah, so I think that is the situation there. But yeah. Anyway, Matty 7 Eagle says nowhere as good as their match in NXT. Yeah, I agree with the Adam Cole Malachi Black match. Again, these two should have been in reverse roles. Yes, 100%. MJF should be a babyface still. Adam Cole should be a heel. They wanted to bring this back and continue this story. I mean, that would have been fine. Ending it with a low blow to Adam Cole doesn't really suit well with me. Anyway. But yeah, I think that this match was good, and we got a bit of so anyway, backstage we hear from Jay White, who starts to respond to what Hangman Adam Page had to say, but the Hangman blindsides him, sending him out to the crowd. Jay tries to fight back, but is sent into the guardrail by Page, who looks to break Switchblade's ankle, and Page grabs a chair, ready to decimate the ankle before Juice Robinson makes the save. White takes Page to the ring, looking for revenge before Hangman makes his escape through the crowd. Jay gets a microphone, promising to beat, dismantle, and embarrass Page at Full Gear. He and the fans are going to have fun, and Page has never beaten Jay White, and he won't come Full Gear when Hangman Page breathes with the Switchblade. Jay says he might even be the first to make Hangman Page tap out. If you don't like that, don't like the sound of that, he's got 2 words for you: guns up. I'm gonna have to say Jay White's gonna lose, but gotta take into account there's a possibility Jay may make Adam Page, make Adam Page submit to a submission. So there's that possibility too. So you got to weigh out your factors there if you were to bet on something like this. I honestly think just saying all what I just said, I may stay away from betting on Hangman Page altogether, just to play it safe so I don't lose. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on. We head backstage once more with Chris Statlander comes in promising to win the TBS Women's Championship at Full Gear, but as she walks away, she is nearly ran over. We see Camille behind the wheel with Mercedes Moné telling her off for not getting the job done, but as the Brickhouse tries to go back after Statlander, she ends up being laid out against the truck. Instead, security intervenes as we cut away. Mercedes Moné is retaining her championship. I can promise you that. So that's a definite match you can bet on. And Jon Moxley is a definite pick to win that match as well. That's a fucking gimme, a layup. Back at ringside, the Patriarchy make their way out to the ringside with Christian Cage getting a microphone. After they get into the ring, we notice the security detail, and Cage addresses this, saying it's for everyone's protection as he formally welcomes Kip Sabian to the patriarchy, saying that everything Kip was doing was to get his attention as he is a fatherless loser in the need of guidance. My God, this man is an absolute fucking asshole. One thing stood out above all else is pointing to the screen as we get footage of Cage chasing Sabin, only to be confronted by Pac and Claudio Castagnoli. Points out that Kip Sabian's interference kept him from signing away his contract, making him still the undisputed next AEW World Champion. He extends his love to Sabin, and the pair hug before Hook's music hits. The last ever FTW champion makes his way to the stage with a mic of his own, saying whatever Cage has to say needs to be good and quick because he ain't got the fucking patience. Nor do I with this fucking show. Cage starts running down Hook before saying he did what he did a few weeks ago to discipline a new son, explaining that he took out another voice in Hook's ear. The thing is, however, Taz saw Cage's face, but why didn't he tell Hook who did it? Cage says it's because he knows Cage can take Hook to new heights, unlike his father. He asks if he wants to be an announcer like Taz or if he wants to get to the next level with Christian Cage. He says he needs Hook and finally has the guts to say to his face that he wishes Hook's father was dead. What in the fuck? Like that, when he said that, I'm just like, what the fuck? You really got this guy saying he wishes Taz to be dead? Me personally, if that was me and I was Hook, I would have just ran down to the ring and fucking killed him. Fuck storyline. I would have just beat the living tart out of him, which that eventually leads to that point, but still, he doesn't really get the revenge he's looking for. Anyway, we get footage of Brian Cage and Lance Archer being dominant in the tag team division before going backstage, where Don Callis starts to address their greatness before being interrupted by someone with an envelope of cash, a box with a ring in it, and a message from MJF asking Callis to help take care of Adam Cole. And if he scratches up the ring, he can get people to scratch Don Callis up. Interesting. Back at ringside, Penelope Ford makes her way down for our next match. Penelope Ford loses to Jamie Hayter. Barely paid attention to this shit. Who fucking cares? We get hype for Okada's who enters this year's Continental Classic. We go back to ringside for our main event, and Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher end up losing to Ricochet and Powerhouse Hobbs. Ricochet ends up getting the pinfall on Takeshita. I particularly did not like this at all. I thought this was absolute trash. That Takeshita took the L here while he's the international champion. And that's just their excuse way of giving fucking Ricochet a match with Takeshita later on in the future, one-on-one for the international championship. That's all this shit is. And that's basically it. Will Ospreay made his appearance after the match was over to make a save. So Ricochet, Will Hobbs, and Will Ospreay, all three of them worked on the Don Callis family to stand tall at the end of the show. And that's how the show went off the air. And that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much all, guys. I mean, there's not much to say. They are touching on storylines for each match, going into Full Gear. But, I mean, it's not any high level of importance. It's just little by little of telling a story here and there and so forth, which is fine compared to what they were giving us before. I mean, I guess they're progressing somewhere in this case, so it doesn't make everything so worthless and meaningless. But yeah, that was pretty much the entire show in a nutshell. If you enjoyed this video, by all means, go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that, guys. And I thank you very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.